It's Keza, also known as Skylar Loves Gory Movies. I am back with day 3 of 31 days of favourite movie challenge. Sorry that I'm like this, I'm still recovering from stuffy nose and cold flu-like symptoms, so I'm going to power through this again. Basically, I've chosen a film from my childhood that I haven't watched in a long time, but I still remember it. So today's review is from 1987, and it's called My Best Friend is a Vampire, starring Robert Sean Leonard, Cheryl Pollock, Renee Auberjonois, Evan Mirand, Fanny Flagg, Paul Wilson, Kenneth Kimmins, Cecilia Peck and David Warner. Casting by Penne DuPont, music by Stephen Dorff, written and produced by Tab Murphy, produced by Dennis Murphy, directed by Jimmy Houston. The movie starts out as a dream-like sequence where a boy is playing the tuba, a girl is playing the flute, and another's playing like a trombone, like saxophone. Then the boy gets a letter, so he follows where the letter takes him through what he calls the Forbidden Zone, which is the girl's locker room. So he walks through the locker room and sees the girl of his dreams. One girl is in the shower kissing him, and then another girl kisses him, and then he screams as he's naked and tries to run away. Then a nun somehow is in this dream, gets some shears and then chops his bits off. Then he awakes from his dream. Next morning his parents are making breakfast and eats his breakfast and then leaves for school. Then is driving down the road and arrives at school. Walks on the grass talking to his friends. At class, everyone staring at everyone while doing schoolwork. A letter gets passed around, and then he goes to work as a delivery boy and starts doing his delivery rounds and goes to an old mansion, knocks on the door and is told to come in. So as he enters the house, he goes to the table, sees a cat and runs away, and then talks to the owner and hurts his finger, so he licks his finger better and tells him to come back at midnight as she's a night owl. Back at the diner, Jeremy, who's this character who works in the store, he's the main character, and his friend Ralph are talking about what happened. Then drives at the old mansion and the car stops. Then Jeremy gets out of the car, knocks on the door and enters the mansion and sees the cat, runs away again. Then goes up and the stairs to the master bedroom and hears a voice from behind the door, and they start to undress. Then the door gets broken into and Jeremy and Nora start to make love, and two men go up the stairs, but the stairs creak, and which startles Nora. Then bursts into the bedroom. Jeremy leaves and gets into a car and drives off, and the man rushes inside, and then the lady screams. And then Jeremy and his friend Ralph drive off home and notices bite marks on his neck and goes home to bed. Back at the old mansion, they finish off blowing up the mansion and then drive off, and Jeremy is trying to sleep but is woken up by noises and sees a figure out the window. Then the next day, Jeremy wakes up pale and refuses to eat, then reads an article in the paper about the old mansion burning down and runs out the house. At the professor's place, they're talking about killing Jeremy at high school. Two girls are discussing what stuff they like to do it with, and Jeremy takes his friend into a classroom and discuss what happened the night before. Then the professor drives to the school looking for Jeremy, and they find them and start to follow them from school. So drives to get away from them. Well, Ralph drives and gets away from them, but they are constantly still tailing them and find a shortcut and stops, so the police go after the professor. Then at the supermarket, Jeremy gets followed and talks to his crush, and then hides behind the freezers of juice, and then the girl leaves the cooler as she thinks Jeremy is imagining things. And now Jeremy is back at home making himself a protein shake, but realises something is missing. So he puts a bloody steak in with his protein shake, and his dad drinks it instead and is sick. While sleeping, Jeremy is woken up by the man that's following him. His name is Odar, and starts to tell him things and talks about getting bitten by a vampire, and goes on about him transforming into a vampire. And Jeremy tells him to leave, but his mum knocks and asks if he's okay, but then leaves. And then Jeremy leaves the house and talks in the car about the professor, who is trying to kill Jeremy and the other vampires. And then talks that they are living vampires, and that he begins to change. That he's beginning to change, and he gets out of the car and gets on the bus and goes to school, and has driving lessons at school, with Jeremy's friend Ralph driving first, but gets followed by the professor, so they drive to get away from him. Sorry, yet again, but stops and confronts them, and they drive away back to school. And Jeremy walks to class and hears a lady playing the saxophone. Her name's Darla, and asks Darla out on a date. She says yes, so he picks Darla up at 7. So while getting ready, he doesn't see his reflection in the mirror, and then he goes to Darla's house, and her parents answers the door and invites Jeremy in, takes a picture of them before their date, and leaves the house and drives off. They both go and get a pizza and starts to chat away about Ralph and Darla's friend, and Jeremy starts to eat his pizza and starts to feel sick. Then the professor goes to Ralph's house and sees him, and they drive off. Jeremy and Darla drives to a secluded area and talk some more, and they start to kiss. Meanwhile, back at Ralph's house, they're watching over the friend, but Ralph is out with a baseball bat and the professor takes a nap. Meanwhile, Jeremy starts to make out, but suddenly drives away, realising he's a vampire, and Darla cries to her friend's arms. Then Ralph confronts the professor and his stooge, and then drives off. Then Jeremy goes to the market, and the stooge and professor drives away. Jeremy orders pig's blood and starts to drink it, and really likes it, and drinks a load more, and realises that he is a vampire. So he needs to wear shades and starts to drink a lot of pig's blood, and gets used to be calling a vampire, and his life, and that he will have a long life, and how he has powers. So he reads the book and tells Darla how much he likes her, and tells her to come back and raise her right hand, and that he's given her a second chance, but she declines. Ralph drives away from the professor and goes to Jeremy's house, and Jeremy tells Ralph that he's a vampire and shows him that he's got no reflection, but he doesn't believe him at first. And then he drinks pig's blood, and Ralph walks off as he's stunned by what was said. Now it's night time. Jeremy sits on the roof, and Odar comes by and tells him that he's got to go, and Jeremy is taking it badly. So Odar gives Jeremy his car, and has told Odar the professor is after Ralph instead of Jeremy. After a long talk, Odar leaves Jeremy, comes down the stairs and tells his parents good night, and drives off into the night, and goes to Ralph's house and talks to Ralph as Ralph's trying to accept that Jeremy is a vampire. So they both go out to a club, and the professor and the stooge follows them. So Jeremy uses his powers to get a girl, but it's always backfiring. So third time lucky, but the stooge grabs Ralph and starts to fight. But they escaped and they're driving away and go to the dinner, and Darla sees them, so Jeremy goes over and talks to Darla, but Ralph gets captured by the professor and walks out. So Jeremy and Darla go after them, and Ralph is being taken hostage. So Jeremy tells Darla that he's a vampire, and Ralph tells them that they're being followed. So Jeremy hopes that Darla understands, so they're continuing to follow the white van, and now the police are after them also. Suddenly, Jeremy's car comes to a halt, and Darla and Jeremy get out of the car and go into the police car, but are locked into the police car instead. So Darla drives the police car away and gets out the car. They both get out and then get back in the car, and he tells his parents what is going on. So they get into their car and follow the white car. Then the white van stops and gets out of the car and goes to an abandoned white church. And makes the stooge stab Ralph into the heart with a stake. But something happens, like it goes away, alright. Now the police car has arrived, and Jeremy and Darla get out of the car and comes to the church. Then holds the cross to Jeremy. Doesn't affect him. Holds the cross to Ralph, but doesn't affect him. Does the same thing with water and garlic, so they let him go instead. They all run off into the night, and the professor runs after them, but gets stopped, and Jeremy tells him straight. Then Odark and Nora return and says that they can't be killed, and then the professor has been bitten and runs away with the other vampires and goes off into the night. Then Jeremy, Ralph and Darla walk away, and then scares the stooge into the night, and then into the car. And then the stooge goes in the car and drives off, and the police follow him. Meanwhile, Jeremy's parents arrive and tells him that they're there for him, and is delighted that that Jeremy has a girlfriend, and they all give each other a hug, and then Ralph lays back and says, "What a night." And that's basically the film. Like, my thoughts on it is, like, when I first watched it, I thought, oh yeah, really good, but now, not so much. I didn't really rate it, so rating system, I'd give it a 4 out of 10, and that's enough from me. So stay gory, have unpleasant dreams, and I'll see you all soon, and I hope you enjoyed this review. Ta-ta for now, bye.